And now William has announced no plans to meet the prodigal son. If there were any hopes of a royal reunion, it seems to have been dashed.
Yeah, I didn't expect there to be a royal reunion with William.
King Charles, with a heavy heart and determined gaze, is preparing for an unprecedented move. His decisions and actions not only aim to mend the fractures within his family, but also reveal dark secrets and deep-seated conflicts. Prince Harry, with his rebellious steps and shocking criticisms, has thrust their father-son relationship into a whirlpool of tension and discord. Will an unexpected journey by King Charles change everything? Or will the underlying tensions and mysteries continue to haunt the royal family? The questions remain unanswered, awaiting the explosive revelation of shocking truths. King Charles is taking important steps to end his disagreement with Prince Harry, including planning to visit the U.S. to meet Harry, Meghan Markle, and their 2 children. Despite some previous attempts at reconciliation, the conflict has not been completely resolved. According to relationship expert Luella Alderson, this visit can be the first step in repairing the relationship. However, biographer Christopher Anderson believes that Harry's criticism of Camilla is a big problem that makes it difficult for Charles to fully forgive. King Charles's decision to visit Prince Harry in the U.S. carries a complex message. In the eyes of many, Harry does not deserve forgiveness after his rebellious actions and public criticisms of the royal family, especially his attacks on Camilla, whom King Charles deeply loves and protects. Harry's abandonment of royal duties and the public airing of family disputes have caused significant damage to the royal family's image and honor. Many believe that Prince Harry has lost the right to have his father visit him. King Charles's willingness to forgive and reconcile might be seen as a sign of magnanimity and an effort to heal, but it could also be perceived as a weakness, a lack of the necessary resolve to uphold the values and dignity of the royal family. The decision to undertake this visit, given the recent and contentious nature of Harry's actions, raises questions about the fairness and rationale behind it. Is this the right step towards rebuilding family relationships, or merely an unnecessary concession to a son who has betrayed his family? Only time will tell, but this decision by King Charles is sure to remain a hotly debated topic in the days to come. King Charles should not have a trip to America because King Charles coming to America to visit Harry and his family is not simple, it is also political, a visit between the 2 countries. Yes, this is a highly political action that can raise a lot of controversy and criticism. For a British king to visit a son who has publicly criticized and left the royal family could be interpreted as an unnecessary concession, especially when Harry has repeatedly caused deep pain to him, royal family and images. This event could cause a wave of public discontent and raise questions about the value and power of the royal family. This visit is not only a family matter, but could also be seen as a signal of weakness in a diplomatic context when a strong country like Britain has to humble itself because of a traitor. This is not only a personal trip, but can also affect the relationship between the 2 countries, further complicating the political situation. At the same time, this action may be seen by political critics as an unwise move, reducing the prestige and respect for King Charles. Many might argue that instead of taking the time and effort to go to America to visit someone who left and criticized the family, King Charles should focus on more important royal duties and responsibilities. In particular, in fact, Harry's children don't even know if they are real. Harry and Meghan always bring up ghost children to attract attention without once confirming whether they are real or not. Harry and Meghan's media paths have attracted a lot of attention from the public and the media, but questions about the truth remain. The fact that they did not confirm the existence of their children made many people feel skeptical and confused. This is an issue that I feel needs to be addressed more clearly. I have always respected King Charles, but his silence on this issue can be understood as an act of protection for fake couples, but at the same time it causes many reactions. My view is that, while respecting each person's right to privacy, it is important to be transparent and honest with the public, to avoid widespread skepticism and suspicion. So Charles may visit the U.S. to see his grandchildren. Here's an idea: why don't their parents bring the children to see their grandfather? It would be a lot less hassle considering the king is still undergoing treatment for cancer. Where do these stories come from? Not from King Charles, of that I'm certain. I hope this isn't true. One reason is obviously the king's health issues, but all things being considered, it would just be a huge ego boost for Harry and Meghan. I can just see her smug face knowing she won, and if the king wanted to see the kids, he would have to be the one to make it happen. It's awful not being able to have contact with grandchildren, and I feel angry that once again she has manipulated the situation. She has no scruples. If Charles was unwise enough to do that, I can just imagine what the Markles would make of it. Look, we are so important that the King of the United Kingdom comes all the way to see us rather than we have to go and see him. It's hard to accept, since when would the king drop everything to make a trip overseas to see someone who has done nothing but blackmail him since they left the UK? This is all coming from them, and their PR. It's all made up to have another go at Charles. No truth in it whatsoever. Geez, Meghan and Harry are going to have to top that kettle up for a long time before serving some Earl Grey and paying respect to a visiting King Charles and Queen Camilla on American soil. The Queen died knowing he betrayed her, with Seal refusing to see her as his wife, disrespecting her, and then demanding his wife be at her bedside. After all, absolute twaddle. When Harry came over uninvited, he got 7 minutes with the king. The king has made it quite clear that he will not respond to emotional blackmail. Yes, he is a father, but he is also king, and his duty to the country comes before his personal feelings. So of course I believe that our king is not going to the USA. He is our head of state. Our king has a right to do what his destiny has prescribed for him to do. We do not own our children. We borrow them for a short time until they are adults in their own rights. We are gifted a relationship with our grandchildren, often only if we are young enough and geographically close enough, and sometimes because their health demands such. The king has a demand on him to impart a code of conduct onto Prince George, as our late Queen imparted a code of conduct upon Prince William, as our late Queen Mother imparted a code of conduct upon our now king. Please understand that is the nature of a head of state, that is the monarchy. Why should King Charles go to them? They have the audacity to expect an apology. For what? If anyone owes an apology, it's the royal family who deserve one. The gruesome twosome only thinks of themselves and how to exploit the royal family for financial gain. Their entire narrative is shrouded in questionable truths, causing unnecessary stress for the king. It's a mockery of duty and decency, and King Charles should not dignify their self-serving theatrics with his presence. If anything, they owe him and the institution of the monarchy a profound apology for their relentless betrayal and deceit. If King Charles decides to come to America, you need to be careful with Meghan Markle. She has been criticized for using audio and video recording media to record important royal conversations and events and then posting them to the press for profit. This action is not only an invasion of privacy, but also a malicious act, solely for personal gain. There have been many times when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry used interviews and statements to publicly criticize and oppose, especially the British royal family and Harry's relatives. They use the private stories and words of royal heads to create a life by selling it to the public. Every time they pick up a camera or microphone, they're creating new stories and new interviews, and they're doing what they can to make money. Everyone knows that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry use these facilities for personal purposes, not for family or national purposes. They are the backers of fame, a means for the media to officially introduce a snake. Nothing is impossible. She can do anything to make money. Be careful, Charles. He may be your son, but you are king and you represent your subjects who are clearly not happy with Harry and Meghan. Such a move could give Meghan what she craves, the collapse of the royal family, by losing public support. No need to say much. I don't believe this at all, given his age, his cancer, and that his wife would not be welcome in Harry's house. How could he possibly roll over for this more on who literally H8SES the royal family and his country? The one thing that Charles finds unforgivable is criticism of Camilla. How about trashing his whole family, himself, his wife, daughter-in-law, our future king, the UK, and its public, the Commonwealth? And this is what he finds unforgivable. No wonder people are talking more and more about a republic. Maybe if he goes, he shouldn't come back. Harry's departure from his role as a working member of the royal family signifies more than just a change in titles. It marks a profound shift in public perception and expectations. Once celebrated as a charismatic and relatable prince, Harry's journey has taken him from the heart of royal duties to the outskirts of public scrutiny. The controversies surrounding him and Meghan have reshaped their identities from celebrated figures within the monarchy to polarizing symbols of rebellion and dissent. The public sentiment towards Harry and Meghan has soured, fueled by a sense of betrayal and disillusionment. Their decision to step back from royal obligations, coupled with their candid revelations and public criticisms, has eroded the trust and admiration once bestowed upon them. While their intentions may have been rooted in a desire for personal freedom and authenticity, the manner in which they have navigated this transition has left many questioning their allegiance to royal tradition and duty. In the eyes of the public, the notion of Harry and Meghan parading alongside other members of the royal family is increasingly incongruous. Their lifestyle choices and public statements have diverged sharply from the traditional expectations of royal conduct, creating a stark contrast with figures like Prince Andrew, who have opted for a quieter, more discreet existence away from the limelight. Prince Andrew's retreat from public life, though fraught with controversy, has been seen as a pragmatic approach to mitigate further damage to the monarchy's reputation. His absence from royal duties has spared the institution from additional scrutiny and criticism, allowing the focus to shift away from scandal and towards more stable and reassuring figures within the family. For Harry and Meghan, the challenge lies in reconciling their desire for privacy with the public's continued interest and scrutiny. Their efforts to carve out a new role within the global spotlight have been met with skepticism and scrutiny, with questions lingering about their future contributions and commitments to public service. As they navigate this new chapter, the public's expectations remain clear: transparency, accountability, and a steadfast commitment to the values and responsibilities associated with their royal status. Whether they can regain public trust and acceptance remains uncertain, but their journey serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities inherent in balancing personal desires with public duty within the confines of one of the world's oldest and most revered institutions. I sincerely hope this isn't true, but he needs to realize that Harry is finished as a working member of the royal family. The public will not want to see him or his wife parading around with them. They can live a private life and stay out of sight like Andrew. Going to be a lot of questions for Harry to answer before any visit. Moon bumps, changing shape and moving about when it walked. Why has no one outside the pair of them seen these milkshakes? Where is their nanny that looked after the milkshakes? Where are their birth certificates, as no one has seen them? Why has no one heard the milkshakes playing? Why? Where are the milkshakes' garden toys, swings, slides, sand pit, etc.? Where are the dogs they boasted about, only seen once? Where are all the deals they keep bragging on about? Where are all the A-lister friends missing for a long time now? Long list, can't wait for an answer. Of course, testing the waters again, the king needs to be careful if this is true. His outline has stood by him after being slated by these two, and he needs to think hard. His public never let him down, but his son and her did. Excellent advice. Terminate the publicity and Meghan and Harry will wither. Further, if Charles arrives in America to visit these two, it will end the monarchy eventually. King Charles will lose any respect he has. Far too much water under the bridge for anything meaningful to occur with respect to the relationship. I doubt William will suffer this quietly and will demand that it does not happen. His future depends on it. On the other hand, Tom Quinn is clearly the new Omid Scobie. Is he honestly trying to tell us that the king who is still undergoing chemotherapy is going to make the journey to Montecito to see his son? Is he honestly trying to tell us he will go alone and leave Camilla behind? After all, Harry has made his feelings about Camilla very clear, and let's be honest, he was extremely unpleasant and some would say downright nasty and vicious. All of this is nothing but a PR puff piece that once again is trying to rewrite history. Yes, he came to the UK in a blaze of PR glory, the PAP's ready at every juncture to snap a shot, with a rolling PR news push for his every move. The meeting lasted 12 minutes in total, which is hardly what you could call baby steps. Harry hot-tailed it out of the UK because he had an award to hand out in Vegas the following day. The king offered him accommodation at St. James Palace on his last visit, but Harry and his PR team preferred to push the poor Harry victim narrative, snubbed by his heartless, cruel father. Charles would never go to the States to visit or stay with Harry and his wife, because every single word he said would be repeated verbatim to the press with a whole heap of untruths thrown in for good measure. Oh, I wonder if you still remember. He has previously said that he won't be maneuvered by using his grandchildren. He won't give his daughter-in-law the PR kudos after her attitude to his nearest and dearest. She's not that important. Harry needs to make the effort after all he's done to wreck their relationship. The British population clearly welcomed Meghan Markle quite favorably until her actions exposed her lack of clarity. The audience turned against her and celebrated her as she packed and left with her deceiving, grifting, malcontented spouse. She was clearly nothing more than a lying, greedy skank devoid of any dignity. They would surely be treated better than they were before it became evident how nasty they are, if the two of them were not so confused that they prefer to hurt others in order to profit personally. She obtained more advantages than Catherine, thus clearly her color had no bearing on anything. It was only a card she used to pass for the world she was a victim in. Furthermore, whilst Kate Middleton got nothing from King Charles III, her mother Doria got millions of dollars of maintenance from him. Just wondering what that maintenance for Doria is for. Her behavior, comments, falsehoods, contempt for common decency, narcissism, etc., etc. Define the important point here. That has led to terrible treatment and remarks she so well deserves from nations all around the globe. Her pet Harry has behaved as she has. He has been involved in her schemes and is not innocent in what has been happening over the years. History confirms he absolutely is not of mixed race. Hence, understandably and without prejudice, he is being treated as she is. One benefits from what one seeds. Her color has nothing bearing on this. As I have already stressed, dear reader, you are sure you can recall many persons of color, sportsmen and women, entertainers, media professionals, lawyers, doctors, etc., who are treated with respect. One profits from what one plants. Give up your obvious behavior, Meghan. She said regretfully that until she met Prince Harry, she was regarded as a black woman. Actually, since nobody had ever realized she existed, nobody treated her like anything before she met Harry. Nobody treated her any differently until she decided she wasn't getting enough attention once she did show out on the world scene. Nobody knew she was meant to be black until once more she chose to bring it up. She incorrectly believed that an advanced culture such as the UK shared the same values as her own, where many feel that one drop of apparently black blood renders a person second-rate. Living all her life as a white person, she decided to dust off and play the worn-out race card, something that might work in a backward society, but not in a modern and socially balanced country. She also assumed that the sentiments of her own nation were the same in more developed nations, not realizing once more, because she understands nothing of how a regular society runs, that none gave a flying fuck about her claimed racial origins. What do you suppose Meghan's worst error has been up to now? You can comment below. 6 years of it have all been colossal errors, each one of them. The most recent is how she persuaded Nacho to be her flying monkey for a greeting card-style social media post with 3 images stacked opposite. The post was completed hours before the trooping of the color ceremony in the United Kingdom started, and naturally, Catherine, Princess of Wales, looked great. One picture shows an ARO jar of jam. The label states raspberry jam, but it lacks all the seeds of raspberry jam would, hence who knows what it is. The label has numbered 2 of 2 and is slightly flaking at the margins. Something shredded like operation bandaging and sloppily wrapped up caps the jar with a messy-looking bandage poultice. Cropped at an odd angle to our right side like some tarot card with a portion taken off, or that old black magic she knows, the picture in the middle is of a skinny white dog sitting on its haunches. The second picture shows the same dog but with a jar of chocolate biscuits close by. Dog biscuits, one leads one to assume. Looks good on the surface, but scrape a little bit of the veneer and you get a horrible subliminal message. She is blowing a raspberry at a slender white bitch who has been hospitalized and unwell and is being advised off to eat her brown dog biscuits. We should thus take it as she means, eat shit, bitch. I'm not lying here. This is not a theory of conspiracy. Others are seeing it as well. This woman is quite dark and evil. The adolescent, petulant, and envious narc functions this way. She is nasty and vengeful. She enjoys doing this kind of thing as well. On her, it is backfiring, though. Nacho deleted the post previously since it generated too much heat blowback for him. Regarding Catherine, she is simply her own and is not answering. She neither has to nor cares to. She is not going to provide Meghan with the weaponry required to support her position of victimization. Despite all her evil pokes and prods, Megs hates being ignored. Should the bully continue to be ignored, she shrivels down into a fetal narc. Collapse. Folks, it is occurring. Since essentially before the marriage, maybe even before her engagement, even the goddess Chaos would struggle to grasp Meghan's line of conduct. Nothing she says, does, or suggests makes logical. She was positioned to be a worldwide global influencer for her causes. She was ready to join one of the most powerful organizations on Earth as a regular essential member. She was en route neither to copy nor replace Princess Di, but to become a cherished symbol on her own merits. She had just to grasp hold of the brass ring. She started devolving then, with small but progressively tiny steps, spiraling out of control till at this instant in time she had lost the brace ring, permanently. From celebrity to notoriety in such a brief period with such apparent will to self-destruction. Not only self-destruct, but also destroy all around her. For me, she seemed to have great dreams. She aimed to be someone with influence for charity. She had a scheme, and strangely it worked. She possessed more as well as all she could have imagined. But then something changed. Her former existence was dotted with little but progressively important signals. Use them, then lose them in a sequence. A sequence of little lies, many subsequently publicly confirmed, in the video with Vogue's editor. She asked him if she could guest edit, contradicting her prior claim that Vogue had asked her. An inconsistent pattern, a tendency of having to be the center point. A trend of alienating individuals, jealousy, fear, egotism, anxiety is something. She simply lacked the emotional capacity to handle the magnitude of it all, in my opinion. It got to her head exactly. Her baser elements came out on display. We have all seen actors and others experience this when their success just overwhelmed them. They fly, then burn and crash. The announcements on the SR website expose meanness, childlessness, a self-victimization wrapped in beautiful rhetoric. She simply can't resist striking out when her plans fall apart. Every time she's walled, the total lack of consideration for repercussion shows itself. She uses her network of anonymous friends to let the world know how she really feels when she cannot publicly exact revenge. She can't face the world herself, though, like steering clear of the Queen. I would label that as cowardice, and this narrative is hardly close to done. Using a well-worn cliché is like seeing a slow-motion train disaster. You simply cannot stop it. All of it is really depressing. The tortoise runs rings about itself, heading nowhere. The hare hits the ground running. She could have done so much more good and have respect well deserved if she had followed the tortoise way, slow and steady, taking everything in and listening to people who could assist her in her new circumstances. Apart from that, she has made thus far in her life with her Prince the Oprah interview was a poor choice. She lied so much, and even though we all knew she was lying, some people in the world thought her since they did not know her as we do. She did, however, achieve what she intended, that of playing the victim to the great black monarchy. She could not be told what to do right from the moment the Queen informed her she could not use the title royal to market all kinds of items. She has been working to discredit the monarchy, particularly the Queen, since then. The Queen does not deserve to be handled by the most nasty person on earth. I'm not sure if it was only one thing, more of an accumulation of several mistakes, wrongdoings, hubris, call it what you like. But with all the lies and subterfugation over Archie's birth, along with her overspending at the same time, it was clear that she was highly controlling and not real. The knowledge by so many that she was a possible con woman and Harry had been conned brought everything to a head. Personally, as I have said before, I believe that announcing her pregnancy at Eugenie's wedding defines the standard for bad behavior, and later on, her total contempt for the Queen and the customs and methods of the British royal family. The British royal family must completely and politely eliminate every royal title. Duchess, Prince, every single title. Just go back to Mr. and Mrs. alone. Neither should the bogus kids keep any titles. From a biological standpoint, they are not royal. They have no bearing at all. I really do think they are phony. They yell for privacy. I yell to the actual parents from those first pictures, no more. Actually, though, the royal family is partly responsible for Meghan's major blunders. One of their own, they greeted her warmly. She invited people she would never have ever met but are powerful sorts. They spent millions on an overdone wedding for her. I think they spent more on Harry's wedding than on William, the legitimate heir to the throne. She could spend millions on things, including the engagement dress, which I estimate to have cost $73,000, thereby allowing them to change their regular rules and practices. They invited her mother, not Kate's family either, and they invited her for Christmas before she was married. Not something they did with Catherine. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching our video, and I want to know what you think about these issues. Please express your opinion in the comments below. Hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye, and see you again in the next videos.